Guys, well, I got started on testing this active aerial, and I'll confess I went down a bit of a hole here with the orientation of the FET transistor, and it looks like the problem is this little component tester. This was just like a kit that I got on eBay, and I just put it in this box. So it just came as an LCD with a PCB underneath it, and that's basically it. And so far I've only ever used it for passive devices, but I thought, you know, just to make sure I get the pin orientation correct when I'm fitting these components on the board, I'll double check it with this guy. So I'm just using an alternative FET to illustrate the problem here, but it's the compatible type. It's NET133, and it has source, drain, and gate as the orientation. So when I fire this up, it should say source, drain, gate. 1, 2, 3, source, drain, gate. Is it straight? Source, drain, gate. So spot on. 1, 2, 3 equals source, drain, gate. Now my expectation with this is if I change the leads around, either the 1, 2, 3 order will change or the SDG order will change. And so what I'm going to do is I'll leave the gate, pin 3, and I'll swap over the source and drain. And so now it should say drain source gate. It should say DSG now. So let's see what it says. See, no change. It looks like this guy can't tell the difference between the source and the drain, which obviously kind of threw me, because the first time I connected it up, and I looked at the reading, I thought, oh wow, okay, the pinout is actually different than what's in the drawing here. So I actually soldered the original FET in 180 degrees out. Then I found that and put it back. And so the result is some progress, and so I'll show you where I'm at. So in case any of you guys have got one of these things, you might want to check it out, because I don't know if this is just the one I have has got a problem with it, or they struggle when it comes to checking things like FETs. Anyway, I'll show you how far I've got with this thing. Essentially I'm using the Radialva as my sort of test set, because it's that type of set that I want to have working a lot better than it does. So I've kind of set this thing up. So this is the output going off to the Radialva. Then there is a true earth connected, and there's just a piece of wire as the through antenna. So at the moment it's set on pass through, and so the reception is pretty diabolical when you consider it's my local transmitter. So when I turn on the gadget, it definitely makes a big difference, which is nice. However, none of the other controls, the only control that has any impact is the output control. If I turn it down, we go back to the noise, but the tuning and the Q controls don't really do anything. So still some way to go here. Doing a little bit more scientific approach to see if I can get this guy to actually tune. So what I've done is the old signal gen is set with the audio tone modulated at about 900 kilohertz. Connected to it's just connected to a loop that's hopefully coupling up with the antenna here. and then it's connected straight into the radialva at the back, and I have a scope hooked up to the almost to the output, not quite the output. It's connected to the left side of this capacitor just before you get to the output. Okay. So I'm gonna, since I can't do it all and hold the camera, I'll focus mainly on the scope so you can see what's going on. Okay, so I'll turn up the radio, and you'll hear obviously that the radio is picking it up directly, just a little bit. Okay. So now I'm going to turn on the active aerial, and you notice it definitely got amplitude bigger here. I don't know if I can get it clearer. Okay, so now I'm going to tweak the coarse tuning knob, and I discovered it's really sensitive. I'll just keep going, bear with me. Start to see something. There we go. And tweaking the fine tuning from all one side to all the other just makes a very, very tiny difference. So that works. So now if I change the modulation frequency down to say 800, retune the radio and then see if we can do the same there. Okay, so now we're down to 800. Okay, so let's see if we can retune. There we go. So see if I can go down to 700. Move the radio. There we go. See if I can retune the aerial. Okay, so I can't get down to 700 kilohertz. The text basically says you have to move the coil along the ferrite rods. Let's see how far up I can go. So that's 1,000. Okay, so I can tune it better. Okay, I must have messed with the scope. There we go, so that tunes. Okay, so we have, I think it's fair to say that this thing is tuning. And the problem I was having when you're just listening to a radio station, it's really hard to find the signal and do it properly. But this does seem to be working quite well. I'm obviously going to have to tweak, and it even says in the text that if you can't get it to tune all the way up and all the way down, try moving the coil up and down on the ferrite. If that doesn't work, then you may have to add or take turns away. So I'm going to mess with that and see how far we go. So I think progress is definitely being made here. At least the tuning piece works. We get into the Q multiplier later on.